cold to change out here. Dang, I'm late for Mom's rally.
With a great sequel comes great responsibility. Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, is the kind of sequel, kind of expansion to 2018's Marvel's Spider-Man by developer Insomniac Games, a game that set a bar as high as the skyscrapers the web-slinger so famously swings from. The good news is that, for myself at least, this game exceeds the heights of the original's gameplay in pretty much every conceivable way. As one would likely presume, the player controls Miles Morales this time around, while our old friend Peter Parker is out of the country with everybody's favorite redhead, Mary Jane Watson. And I'm here to tell you, Miles is an absolute blast to play as. Insomniac chose to lessen the amount of gadgets this time around in favor of Miles' added superhuman abilities, the kind of electric energy he can harness that he refers to as Venom, no relation, and his ability to turn completely invisible. These two abilities, coupled with the 4 gadgets at your disposal, lead to blissful superhero chaos and chains of events during combat that will leave you saying, "Holy shit, I cannot believe I just pulled that off." It is deep, it is intuitive, and it is pure, joyous spectacle. Along with the invisibility, a couple of other minor tweaks make for stealth gameplay that outshines the original. Spider-Man can now stealthily take out enemies not only from perches, but from walls and ceilings as well. I found myself enjoying taking out entire rooms of bad guys entirely by stealth, way more frequently than I had in the previous game. But if things went south, the combat is so fun and flashy that I was never upset at the alternative. The game is incredibly fun no matter how you prefer to play. Another huge quality of life change this time around is having the side missions and crimes all lined up for you in an app menu. This, coupled with the PS5's ability to jump you straight to a side mission from the quick menu, and the lightning quick loading times, made everything feel so seamless and snappy. You're never more than a moment away from what you want to accomplish next. As a note, I will not be doing graphical deep dives to the likes of, say, Digital Foundry when talking about the graphics. This will be purely surface level discussion. That said, the visuals are something to behold. The game has 3 settings: Fidelity, Performance, and Performance RT. Fidelity mode runs in checkerboarded 4K at 30 FPS with all the bells and whistles on, including ray traced reflections, and the ray tracing really is something. The reflections of the city off of all the shiny windows and surfaces as you're swinging over the streets made me truly marvel at where we are at with game tech now. Performance mode is also checkerboarded 4K, but at 60 FPS, with some of the bells and whistles reduced or off, including no ray tracing. It's smooth, it's crisp, it's not quite as pretty, but it does run better. Lastly is Performance RT mode, and this is an option Insomniac added a few weeks after the game launched. It runs at a variable resolution, aiming for 1440p, runs at a buttery smooth 60 FPS, and keeps the ray traced reflections on. Sure, it wasn't quite as sharp as the other 2 options, and a couple of the bells and whistles are turned a little lower, but swinging around the city at 60 FPS with those ray traced reflections still on, making the city feel so engrossing, this is, in my opinion, the way to play, and how to have a true next-gen experience. Lastly, I want to touch on the story. While it is indisputably shorter than its 2018 counterpart, the game does an excellent job both building on Miles and Peter's dynamic and telling a self-contained story that is very personal to Miles. Is it a little short for the price tag asked? Probably. Do I personally still think it was worth the price of admission? Absolutely. The game is so damn fun, it dampens the blow of the game's only real shortcoming. So that leads me to the verdict. This is where you would normally see a review score, and I'm not one of those people that is against putting a number on a review, but enough people do that already, and I do believe that the meat of the review itself is more important than the number. I believe one should find reviewers who seem to have similar interests and critiques as oneself. So my verdicts will simply be whether I think a game was worth my time and money. And for Miles Morales, that answer for me is unequivocally yes.